Greet you in the word, Assalamu alaikum, which means peace and blessings be upon you. And I mention both Jesus and Muhammad's names because they were both messengers of truth and reality. And today, you know what, I'm graced to be here with Brother Munir Muhammad. I've been trying to get him on the show for 2 years. And I thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right. And I just want to please tell people something about yourself.
Well, okay, let me say to you, Brother Raheem, it's very difficult for me to talk about Munir, and not that I have so much to talk about, but in which terms. The only thing I can do is try to be synonymous with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes,
people ask me what is my opinion. I have an opinion based on the root knowledge that he has given me. So my life has become one to defend and hopefully make people recognize him for who he is and not some ostracized person that he has become in our community. It saddens me that more of our young people are not aware of him for the greatness that he has produced. And I've been trying to figure out for the last 22 years why is it so difficult.
Got some old stupid Muslims where I live at. I mean, where I worship at.
But why
don't want to recognize the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I always explain to them that if it was not for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the majority of people in America, black people, would not know anything about Islam. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like the term that you use when you have to refer to them as stupid Muslims. I know you don't mean that if you associate with them.
Yes.
Because when you have truth in your heart and you're serious, then you shouldn't be in an environment with people that you refer to as stupid, ill-informed, I would say.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But let me say to those brothers and sisters, I don't know what planet they live on.
Yes, sir.
I'm not an Arab, and I'm not moved by Arabs. And I say that in this vein. We've been here for a long time.
Yes, sir.
They were ineffective in trying to resurrect us as a people.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows that. They know it, and we know it. But what it shows about black people is how fragile we are. And anybody can come and lead us. We are so obsessed with trying to be recognized by someone.
Yes, sir.
Till we have begun to acquiesce with the people have not shown you a lot of respect. We have done documentaries, we have talked to people from all over the world.
Yes, sir.
And those Muslims that we talk to recognize the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I've been in Egypt, Libya, Ghana, many parts of Africa, and wherever I've been in the world,
yes, sir,
somebody knew the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they may not recognize him as being the messenger, but I don't see how they could recognize Moses or Jesus or Lot or Noah or any of those previous prophets if they can't see the value
yes,
of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because quite frankly, they can't point to anything that those people that preceded the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done that he has not done as well.
What was the brainchild of you starting Crow? What made you even think? First, I'm going to ask you, did you start out as a Christian?
Not really. Let me say, I was from Alabama.
Okay.
I had no respect for the church.
Okay.
I went to church on revival day.
Yes,
when
sir.
They were coming to town, and we were going to have what we thought was some new people.
Yes, sir.
And just as people go to church now, they go, many, and I'm not saying all, but many go to church because they're doctors or lawyers to get clients or to socialize for business purposes. Well, we went to church as a young boy growing up because the girls were going.
The premise that I'm trying to get to is basically what led you to Islam. What light did you say that shined in Islam opposed to Christianity that led you? Led you in that direction?
That's a beautiful, beautiful question. And I say this, and I hope people will understand. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama.
Yes, sir.
And quite frankly, when I thought about our history as a people, it was like day and night. It was a confusion. I was not clear on where I came from. I was not clear on where I was going. It was always an interference because I wanted to emulate Caucasian people, whether it was Whitey Ford, whether it was Bob Cousy, you know, whether it was Johnny United, you know, in the sports world. Now, entertainers, now of course, I like the black artists.
Yes, sir.
But if it was anything of any endeavor of success on a large scale, it had to do with Caucasian people because these were the role models that we saw. I was not clear on myself because I didn't have root knowledge. And if most of our people would be honest, they would tell you the same.
So the majority of our people today that are living in America are stigmatized of imitating, like the slave did. He imitated his slave master because he wanted to be loved and accepted by his slave master.
Well, that may be an analogy of it, but it's sort of like having a black body with a white head. I put it in those terms, and I would say when I heard the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I was overwhelmed.
Yes, sir.
By the example of what he said. He gave me a parable in the way of taking a photograph. He said if he took a photograph of all of the people in the room and you were in the photograph,
yes, sir,
who would you look for first? And it was natural that you would look for yourself. So he wanted to know how could you interest a people in looking for themselves first in a photograph, but they were not interested in an education that eliminated them. So when I read about the Greek philosophers, Socrates and all these guys, where are our great men? You know, nobody could tell me about ours. So I didn't want to be a black body with a white head. I wanted to know myself, but it was always confusion. And even my teachers who could not satisfy my soul because they had to utilize a double standard. When the Caucasian was coming to town, you know, coming to our school, yes, we had to do extra things to appease them. And it was not real. So that's...
You just brought up some interesting, you said a black body with a white head, and you know what, President Barack Obama came to my head. And
but I don't even think he has a black body, to be very honest with you.
Okay.
You know, and I say this, you shouldn't ask me these questions if you don't want to know.
I want to know, yes, sir.
Well, I happen to have met Barack Obama.
Yes, sir.
And in my opinion, he has demonstrated and done all he could to separate himself from that so-called first black president kind of thing.
You know, and speaking of President Obama, do you feel that he is controlled by forces? I'm using the Bilderbergs because I've seen you had Brother Tyrone Powers on. He talks about issues like, do you believe that President Barack Obama is controlled by forces?
Well,
outside of this community and not looking out for the best interests of his people. Well, use the Bilderbergs and the Trilateral.
Okay, well, let me say this. You know, I know about the conspiracy theories. See, a conspiracy theory is when people plot and do things. This is a fact.
Yes.
You know, the facts are these. Nobody has to conspire against you and me. We're essentially nothing in the eyes of the world. You cry and moan about other people's difficulties, but you don't cry and moan about yourself. You don't even give it a second thought of your history. That's why when we talk about Barack Obama, I'm not angry with him because I have met him, I have spoken to him, and he never gave the appearance that he was focused on the black community. Now, there are some people who say, well, he was an organizer in the black community. I've been out to Argyll Gardens. I couldn't chase that history, even though I interviewed people out there. Yes. And I don't know if you remember when Johnny Cochran and Jim Montgomery was scheduled to take a case about the drinking water out there.
Yes.
I don't recall seeing Barack Obama anywhere on the scene at that time. But look, that's not to say he didn't have some type of involvement. But let me put it to you very succinctly.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us the knowledge of ourselves. There's no ambiguity there. We're clear on who we are. Now, the president is not clear on who he is, but he's clear on who he'd like to be.
Yes, sir.
And according to what he said, that his father gave him two things. That was, it took him